Hi, I hope you're having a great day and I hope you have a great weekend coming up. Today I want to talk about a very common problem that men and women go through. It is low libido. I can't tell you how many cases we come across, and since we're into holistic medicine, we just don't talk about nutrition and exercise and sleep and stress. We also talk about sex lives because it's extremely important to understand that a great sex life is part of graceful and healthy aging. You see, healthy aging is not just dependent on how many friends you have, how much time you spend at the gym, and how much of organic food you're eating. Sex is a natural part of our life, and as long as it's respectful, as long as it's safe, and as long as it has consent from each other, from one another, it's absolutely necessary. It's been there since evolution. It exists in the animal kingdom, and it exists amongst human species. Now, we have a genuine problem where men and women today, most men and women, tend to have low libido problems. So what happens is we blame it on age. As couples start aging, they think that their libido is falling, and because of age, they should be having lesser and lesser sex. But there are so many surveys which have been done around the world which shows sexually active people in their 70s and even in their 80s at the frequency of having sex once a week. We come across couples in their 20s and 30s who don't even have sex once a month. Now, what we're trying to do is understand that low libido isn't a disease. It's not a condition. Low libido, when you find the root cause of what you have, very, very few cases would be related to some medical condition, like extremely badly managed diabetes. High blood pressure can cause erectile dysfunction and low libido in men. It can also create low libido in women as well. We have certain instances in life when women are going through menopause and their estrogen levels drop, and because of low estrogen, their libido may fall. But over and above that, we're going to go over a couple of points today to see how we can maintain or improve our libido, because without the right amount of libido, that's when we don't have the right kind of sex or the right frequency of sex that's necessary in our lives. So the number one thing, the number one commonality that we see in people who have low libidos, men and women, is again, the lack of sleep. And this is common sense. We don't need science for this. We need just a little bit of common sense to understand that if you don't have the right sleep and you're sleep deprived, you wake up tired. Because you wake up tired, your hormones are all over the place. To have good libido, you need hormonal balance. For men, if your testosterone levels fall too low, you will not feel like having sex. And for women, if your estrogen levels fall too low because your progesterone suddenly increased, because your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, has also increased, you will now have a problem of low libido. So it comes down to that magic drug which nature's given us free of cost, sleep. We need to understand that sleep recharges your body, it rebalances your hormones, and you need the right foundation in your body and in your mind in order to have the right amount of libido. And it's a vicious cycle because your sleep is also, lack of sleep is also connected to the anxiety and the stress that you would go through the next day. So for example, if you're sleep deprived for a couple of nights, you wake up, your anxiety is higher and your stress is higher. Now, you can't have a high libido if your stress and your anxiety is also on the higher side. So you see, it's a vicious cycle. Your stress and anxiety can cause lack of sleep. Your lack of sleep can cause high anxiety and high stress levels, and both equal to low libido, which is why it is so important for us to focus on the quality of our sleep. And that brings us to the next point, which is anxiety. We spoke about anxiety yesterday and natural ways to overcome anxiety. When you are anxious, you are in the sympathetic nervous system. The body cannot raise its libido, or you cannot have sex when you're stressed. And that brings us to crime, violent rapes, forced sex. That happens in a state of sympathetic nervous system stress. It can't be slow, it has to be violent, and it has to be forced because you are in the sympathetic nervous system. But for a normal body and a normal human being where there's no violent crime, you can have sex and your libido will be good when you're in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. So it is so important for us to understand that if you're going through a lot of stress, sleepless nights, whatever your stress may be, your libido may be automatically low. So now no amount of pills, no amount of Viagra, no amount of supplements is going to fix your problem if your low libido is caused because of your anxiety and if it is caused because of your lack of sleep. Work with the root cause. When it comes to sex, there's a beautiful saying. What you don't use, you eventually lose. It's as simple as that. Remember that when you're building your muscle, it's the same thing. You don't use it, you lose it. It's the same thing with sex. So this is so important for us to focus on our sex lives and the libido. The second thing is your exercise. If you are sedentary, you will have low libido, period. When we're sedentary, we automatically become lethargic. Our blood circulation decreases. We all know that we need great blood circulation, men and women, for a healthy sex drive. So the more sedentary you are, the more you are in that sitting position throughout the day, the lower your libido will be. So if you have lack of exercise and sedentary, no amount of Viagra, no amount of pills and supplements and vitamins is going to fix your problem. Very important is your self-worth, and this is for men and women. Most men and women, young, elderly, middle-aged, teenagers, whoever we consult with, whoever we counsel with, self-worth plays a huge role in your sex life. If you have low self-worth, you will automatically have low libido. If you have low self-worth, you will not feel like doing it because you're constantly comparing yourselves to other people's sex lives, what your friends talk in social circles. You know, you come across the occasional couple that goes on bragging about how great their sex lives are, and yours may not be as great as the couple bragging about their sex lives, and all of a sudden your self-worth lowers a little bit because you're trying to compare your sex life with someone who's bragging about it. So the same thing for men and women who watch pornography. The more porn you watch, the more your self-worth decreases, because what you see on the other side of the screen, all the pornography that you see, is not really how sex is meant to happen. That is designed to get you attracted, get you aroused, and get you to watch more and more of it. So all of a sudden, if you keep watching it and you decide that's the way I need to please a man, or that's the way I need to please a woman, your self-worth falls because you're never able to really do that in a real bedroom scene. So what happens is your self-worth falls and your libido automatically falls. Your libido is also connected with the way you think, your emotions, and the way you feel. So it is so important for us to understand how much of pornography you can watch and how much it controls your mind. What we need to also understand is what you see. Foreplay is extremely, extremely important. But what happens is when we watch all of our movies and all of our TV serials, you'll see these couples just getting straight into it, and they're moving straight into positions, and they're showing you this brilliant, hot sex life that they're happening. They don't show you the foreplay, it's just a movie. But when you try to do that in real life and you just think a man and a woman can jump on each other and have that same kind of scene, which is just a virtual life on the other side of the screen, again, you don't perform that way, your self-worth drops. Foreplay is an extremely important part. So for your libido, if you have low libido, men and women, it is worth investing time in foreplay. It is so important. The power of touch, the power of hugging, the power of kissing, the power of foreplay, all of these things lead to higher libido and a better sex life. But if you think it can just happen, men and women are not machines where it can just happen like that. And we know about that. So the more TV we watch, the more movies. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch it, but remember, train your mind to believe that that's a virtual life. Those are actors and actresses and Photoshop and airbrushing and all of that stuff, and a script which is not even real. So make sure that you don't form your benchmarks according to everything you see, because most men and women have low self-worth when it comes to low libido. Now, eating a nutritious diet is extremely important. You put crap into your body, it affects blood flow. Men and women need the right amount of blood flow for good libido. Men and women. So your fruits, your nuts, your seeds, everything, your green leafy vegetables that nature's given you is designed for good blood circulation and good blood flow. You replace that with junk and chemically full food and white sugars and all of these things that drain your body of energy. You're not going to have that energy to have the right kind of sex life. So clean food, give your body what it needs to have a clean diet, and your body will perform for you. A very important factor to improve your libido are your relationships. There are so many men and women out there who have labeled themselves as low libido because their relationships are not good. In a relationship, if there is no more attraction, if there is no more attempt to create attraction, you see, when relationships start, when good relationships start, there's loads of kissing, foreplay, sex, and those are the days your relationships are the best. But as the relationship moves on and all of that, each partner starts taking one another for granted, okay, the relationship starts getting weaker and weaker, and the libido starts falling. Always remember, at the start of most relationships, the sex is the most, the kissing is the most, the date nights are the most, the physical touch is the most, and you're the happiest at that time because sex is a part of a happy life. But as we move on with our relationships, that starts decreasing, and then we think we have low libido, but all we've lost is that same chemistry that we had when the couples met. Because the more you live together, the more the more each partner takes one another for granted, and it becomes lesser and lesser, and what you don't use, you lose. So it is so important to work with your relationships, communication, talking about these things. I can't understand why people think sex is a negative subject that cannot be spoken about. In fact, the more that we subdue it as a country, the more lustful behaviors we have of men out there, the more rapes we're going to have, and the more issues we're going to have revolving around sex. It is so important to have healthy discussions with your teenagers, with one another. It's an open subject. There's no taboo on it, as long as it's done in the right and respectful manner. So relationships play a huge role. If there's only one partner who's trying to work things out, obviously she or he is going to lose their libido at some point. And no amount of Viagra, no amount of vitamins, no amount of all of your Chinese medicine is going to fix you. All of these fix you when you have a deficiency. Smoking, the more you smoke, especially men, the more you smoke, you will have possible problems with erectile dysfunction because of the blood flow problem. The more you smoke, your arteries basically constrict, which means you have poor blood flow to your penis. And because you have poor blood flow to your penis, you cannot maintain or you cannot get an erection. So smoking, as we know, is injurious to your health. Cut it down, it'll be better for your sex life as well. If you have all of these problems, there are a lot of young girls who have gone through sexual abuse in our country. I can't tell you how many young girls, even from affluent families, have gone through sexual abuse in our own country. If you've gone through these problems, you should take sex therapy or sex counseling, because you will need that kind of help to work with the fears that you've had. There are so many women stuck in marriages where they can't have a great sex life because of their past, where they've been sexually abused. So over here, this is where the husband and wife, the partners, come together to understand that this is a real problem and not disrespect a woman, but in fact help her to get the right amount of counseling that can help her heal from her past. So there's nothing wrong with sexual counseling, emotional counseling, or sex therapy. It is necessary when it is necessary. When it comes to low testosterone in men who overtrain and do not recover, men who overtrain and do not take enough of rest, they will have low testosterone levels, and because they have low testosterone levels, they will have a problem with their libido. It's the same thing with women. Women, your sex hormone is estrogen. We don't want too much of it. At the same time, we don't want too less of it. So overtraining, not recovering well, your sleep deprivation will create these kind of problems. Oral contraceptives today, women are given oral contraceptives like candy when it comes to PCOD and ovarian issues. A few of them may need it, but all of the rest need a lifestyle change. Oral contraceptives are also known to decrease the libido in women. So please understand, you're putting chemicals in your body, so don't take it unless you really, really need it. Try to change your lifestyle, balance your hormones the natural way so that you don't have to be on that oral contraceptive, especially at the age of 13, 14, 15, and 16. Or for that matter, any age. When it comes to low testosterone in men, you got to look at your zinc deficiencies, you got to look at your vitamin D deficiencies, and omega-3. These three play an important role in the generation of testosterone in your body, along with regular exercise. Any jump moves, that's why squats, pull-ups, push-ups, anything that requires your body weight to be moved, and weight training as well, can boost your testosterone levels. Now when it comes to foods that are rich in collagen are excellent for your libido. So we're talking about fruits like bananas, we're talking about fruits like watermelon, we're talking about lemons, which are rich in collagen and vitamin C. Now when it comes to a special concoction of spices, you can try this. I'm not here to make a claim that you drink this concoction that I tell you and your libido is gonna just build right up. Your libido is a factor of everything I spoke to. But the recipe that I'm going to share with you right now is half a teaspoon of fenugreek powder. That's methi seeds. You take methi seeds or fenugreek seeds and you grind it into a powder. You need half a teaspoon of that. You need 1/4 a teaspoon of nutmeg. These are aphrodisiacs. Aphrodisiacs are things that can basically boost up your libido that are natural. You need a pinch of pure saffron and you need 2 cloves. You boil this together in water and you can add a teaspoon or a tablespoon of raw unpasteurized honey. And you can have this about 1 hour before bedtime or 2 hours before bedtime. Do this for a couple of days because anything that's natural takes time to work. But what we're trying to assimilate right now are powerful aphrodisiacs that can get into your system and help you. But again, this is not going to work if you're highly stressed, if you're anxious, if you're sleep deprived, and all of those issues. Men and women, chocolate, good quality chocolate. The darker the chocolate, the better it is for your libido, because chocolate contains tryptophan. Tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin. Serotonin is required for our libido, which is why eating the right quantity and the right quality of dark chocolate can also help you with your libido. Men and women, stop drinking water out of plastic bottles as far as you can. Stop microwaving microwaved popcorn, because most of the processed foods that can be microwaved in bags, they have a chemical called PFOA, which decreases your sperm count in men, and it's an estrogen disruptor in women, affecting your libido. So BPA from plastics that leach into our system, that's bisphenol A, has a direct impact on our sperm count, and it is an estrogen disruptor in women, affecting the two main sex hormones in men and women. So it really comes down to lifestyle. And right now you should go and do that research in your neck. You know, we look up to the 70s, the people in their 70s and 80s who are having sex even once or twice a week. But so many people, when they think, oh, by the time menopause, my sex life is over. That's your mindset. Change your mindset. Your mindset will control you. What you believe is what will happen to you. So if you find an easy way out there, because everyone in your friends group is saying, oh, age and sex decreases, it doesn't have to be that way, because there are sexually active people in their 70s and 80s having happy and beautiful lives and aging gracefully. The choice is yours. The lifestyle changes that you need to make is your choice. Now, whether you do it or not. And then there's the quick fix of Viagra and all the chemicals which we know have tremendous side effects in the human body. So first try the natural way of doing it. Make these changes in your life and see how your body responds. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great weekend, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.